Headlines. Good evening. Many thanks for joining us live on QTV. You are watching QTV News, and I am Ajibintu Drame. In tonight's top stories. On the eve of the World Malaria Day, Gambia's health minister speaks of the successes and challenges in fighting the disease. In observance of Ramadan, the Kanifing Municipal Council, in partnership with Fisabilillah Muslim Association of Bundung, on Friday gave free meals to hundreds of Muslims to end their fast. 288 youth entrepreneurs have graduated, having undergone intensive entrepreneurship training through the Standing for Youth program. 47 inmates serving sentences at Mile 2 Central Prison on Friday graduated from a 2-month training program on transformation and making amends with victims of crime. In sports news, a top-of-the-table clash in the GFF First Division sees Fortune FC strengthen their grip on top spot. Well, those were our top stories for tonight. Do stay tuned for the news in detail. Now, as the Gambia joins the rest of the world to commemorate World Malaria Day, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadulamin Samate, highlights the successes and challenges faced in the fight against malaria. Omar P. Jallo has the rest of that story.
The theme for World Malaria Day 2021 is Zero Malaria, Draw the Line Against Malaria. The day is celebrated on the 25th of April each year to recognize and reflect on the achievements and challenges registered in the fight against this preventable and treatable disease. According to experts, since the year 2000, the world has made historic progress against malaria, and the Gambia is no exception, as it is among 6 countries to have achieved the 2020 milestone of reducing malaria incidents and deaths by 40%.
In the Gambia, since 2004, the sustained investment by the Global Fund and other donors have driven malaria cases and deaths to historically low levels, resulting to a general decline in malaria incidents in the country by 50%. Admissions due to malaria in hospitals and health facilities dropped by 74%, and deaths attributed to malaria have dropped by 90%. Furthermore, malaria parasites prevalence dropped from 4.0% in 2011 to 0.2% in 2014. Most significantly, the malaria prevalence has declined even further to 0.1% in 2017.
Despite the gains made, there remains challenges as the world grapples with the COVID-19. More attention and resources seems to be directed to the fight against COVID-19. However, the COVID-19 pandemic underscored the importance of having strong surveillance and healthcare system to effectively address existing infectious diseases like malaria and new and emerging ones like the COVID-19.
You will agree with me that efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19 are necessary to protect health systems, yet these efforts must not compromise access to life-saving malaria prevention, diagnosis and treatment services, or threaten to reverse decades of hard-fought progress against malaria.
As diseases doesn't respect borders, increasing malaria transmission resulting from overburdened health systems could spread into countries that are approaching zero malaria cases. Thus, the need for the Gambia to work closely with its neighbors like Senegal to uphold commitments to end malaria, or risk losing the major gains made towards malaria elimination.
In this regard, despite the current challenges, we will continue to implement safely universal coverage campaigns for long-lasting insecticide-treated nets, seasonal malaria chemoprevention, that's SMC, and indoor residual spraying, which is IRS, focusing on reaching those at higher risk, women and children under 5 across the country. We cannot leave anyone behind.
Minister Samate adds that malaria prevention and control is the business of everyone in the country, including families, communities, local businesses, civil society organizations, government agencies and international organizations. He called on people to mobilize all available means to control malaria and make the Gambia a malaria-free country. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
In observance of the holy month of Ramadan, the Kanifing Municipal Council, in partnership with Fisabilillah Muslim Association of Bundung on Friday, gave free meals to hundreds of Muslims to end their fast at sunset. The event was held at the Westfield Youth Monument. And Sumane Esonyase reports.
People who provide iftar meals and other services for free during Ramadan do so to earn such a reward from God the Almighty. They will earn the reward regardless of the financial status of those who eat from the donated food. Speaking to reporters, the Lord Mayor of KMC says Council has long been looking at other ways to support the poor and needy within the municipality, adding that Saturday's event is timely and thanked Fisabilillah for collaborating with his office. He also called on the people of KMC to support those in need.
We want to encourage more corporate bodies, people wealthy within the municipality, to partner with Fisabilillah and KMC to make sure we widen the net, especially in the giving month of Ramadan.
Suleiman Jame, Councillor for Bundung Ward, thanked the people of Bundung for supporting the poor and the needy and thanked KMC for their continued support. We know that supporting our people, especially during the holy month of Ramadan, is not only to show kindness but very rewarding, and I encourage everyone to emulate such gesture. Musa Nyang, the PRO of Fisabilillah, says their organization has been engaged in several voluntary activities and call on Muslims in the country to continue praying for peace and tranquility. We have embarked on many activities in the past, such as the fencing of the Bundung Cemetery, cleaning of mosque, supporting the poor and the needy in our community, amongst others. However, this one is unique as it is the first activity outside our community. Providing iftar or meals for those in need, especially stranded commuters, is an old practice that still forms part of several activities that Muslims embark on during the holy month of Ramadan. And given its importance, the Lord Mayor and senior members of Fisabilillah Muslim Association are hoping to make it an annual event. Answane Sonyasi for KTV News.
Now, the International Organization for Migrants, with support from the UK government, on Saturday held the graduation ceremony of 288 youth entrepreneurs who underwent intensive entrepreneurship training through the Standing for Youth program. And Sumane Esonyase again.
Presided over by IOM Chief of Mission, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, the Minister of Trade, the Lord Mayor of KMC, amongst other dignitaries. Saturday's event marked the end of months of intensive training for over 200 young entrepreneurs selected from the Greater Banjul area, Jara, Soma and Basse. In her welcoming address, Fumiko Nagano, IOM's Chief of Mission, underscored the importance of the Standing for Youth program and thanked the UK government through the UK Aid Project for supporting a project she says will create jobs and strengthen business run by youth entrepreneurs. She also thanked their implementing partners for their support.
Your support of this program, among many other initiatives, will go a long way in fostering youth empowerment and, in turn, meaningful alternatives to irregular migration. Our collaboration with you in this program was as innovative as it was adaptive and flexible.
The British High Commissioner to the Gambia, David Belgrove, conveyed Britain's unflinching commitment to supporting young people in the Gambia to achieve their potential, especially in the area of business, and went on to stress that this pilot program will also help address migration challenges.
The Gambia's economy will undoubtedly develop faster if we can unlock the ability of entrepreneurs and help small businesses to grow. It is people like you who will form the basis of this country's economic development. I know that this project is aligned with the government's goal of improving and expanding employment opportunities for youth.
Highlighting the importance of such projects to the country's socio-economic advancement, the Minister of Trade, Sidi Keita, and Talib Ahmed Bensouda, the Lord Mayor of KMC, both thanked IOM for creating an opportunity for these young entrepreneurs to learn new skills and gave assurances of their preparedness to support similar ventures.
The government of the Gambia takes particular note of this approach and will endeavor to support similar initiative and is committed to take lessons learned from this innovative program so that it can be scaled up and replicated across the region to reach a wider group.
You each have your own personal reasons for joining the Standing for Youth initiative. You each have a personal ambition and a unique dream for your future. But all of you together represent a new dream and a new hope for the Gambia. Today, at this graduation, you, the youth of the Gambia, are sending a strong message to the whole nation and to Gambians everywhere that we can change the legacy of despair and discouragement.
Other speakers included Aaron Tekelexi, Labour Mobility and Human Development Program Manager at IOM, who gave an overview of the program, and Mama A. Jaju, who delivered the vote of thanks on behalf of the graduates. And Swale Sonyasi for KTV News.
We will take a short commercial break. Still to come, we have more local stories and sports news for us. Do stay tuned.
Ramadan Mubarak from Ajib Bank Limited. This Ramadan, when you open a savings account with Ajib Bank Limited, you will receive a free passbook. And when you open a current or salary account with the bank, you will receive a checkbook for free. Ajib Bank Limited is the only Islamic bank in the Gambia, and we share profits with our clients. So why wait? Visit any Ajib Bank Limited branch today and open your savings account, current or salary account, and enjoy the halal beauty of Islamic banking in line with the Sharia. Ajib Bank Limited, your investment partner.
Welcome back. If just tuning in, this is QTV News. Still on to local stories. In recent times, the Lower River region has recorded a high number of bushfires. A bushfire has ravaged the forest between Badumekuta and Jalambere, causing alarm to the community and threatening a women's garden. This story by Bakari Balde is narrated by Modu Gachaga.
Noon on Monday, inhabitants of Jalambere could be seen carrying buckets of water, using tree branches to dampen down a wildfire threatening to invade the women's vegetable gardens near the forest. The fire had already devastated large parts of the forest, causing environmental damage. Musa Kurubali, a native of Jalambere, explains how the fire started.
We were at home and we saw the fire coming this way, our border with Badome. The women's garden is in this area, and that is why we ran to counter it. This happens here all the time. People come to the forest to cut trees to make charcoal or use in bakeries. This is what causes the fires. Many people didn't come out to put out the fire because we are in Ramadan.
According to Camera, the annual fire outbreak is becoming frustrating, and despite a series of consultative meetings with various stakeholders about bush burning, nothing seems to be working. In such circumstances, the support of fire service is needed, as bushfires need adequate water to be put out.
These fires are a big problem for us. This is our forest that stretches all the way to Casamas. This happens every year. We are fasting, but we have to come out because the fire was coming towards the village. It will be better to have the fire service around this area.
Penda Haidara, who grows vegetables, said that she was alone at the women's vegetable garden when the fire was just about to take over the garden. However, she quickly raised alarm and got help from the village just in time. She had no idea on how the fire started. We spoke to Alaji Sanyang, the regional forestry officer, who told us that bushfires are very common during the dry season and are a huge challenge for the department. He urged communities to create break areas that will serve as barriers between the forest and their activities to avoid fire reaching the forest. He added that his office, in collaboration with partners, will work tirelessly to remedy the situation, as they are always engaged in community outreach to create awareness. At this stage, the causes of the frequent fire outbreaks around the area are yet to be determined. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
47 inmates serving sentences at Miles Central Prison on Friday graduated from a 2-month training program on transformation and making amends with victims of crime to become agents of change in society. Babu Gassi has the rest of that story.
This initiative, the Sycamore Tree Project, is jointly run by the Prisons Fellowship The Gambia and the Gambia Prison Service. The program seeks restoration for all those involved in and affected by crime, as they went through 8 sessions of heartfelt conversations with victims of crime, supervised by expert facilitators. At the event, the national coordinator of the Sycamore Tree Project, Dr. Abi Abraham, said the training will help support the inmates in restoring justice and uplifting the inmates to become agents of peace.
The restorative justice agenda simply means that justice itself is a continuum. The fact that a man has offended and the system has apprehended him does not end the matter of justice. What happens to the offender? What happens to the victim and the offender's families? What happens to the society at large? So this program runs offenders through various stages to give an awareness of the very important fact that crime is not an isolated incident.
The Director General of the Gambia Prison Service, Ansumana Mane, said the fellowship has changed the prisons in a positive way compared to the past.
1 year, 7 months into the implementation of the program, the Gambia Prison Services conducted an evaluation exercise alongside Prison Fellowship, and the outcome was incredibly amazing. And this has continued until date. I must say that the rate of recidivism dropped drastically amongst all the participants of this program in the last 3 years, because this program started since almost 3 years back. And when it started, definitely we have seen a reduce in crime, and that is already evident, because previously the roll in mile 2 here was all up to 1,000, but today we have a minimum roll of almost around 400. So it means definitely the roll has drastically reduced.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Interior, Fantamane Bojang, said the coming of the Prison Fellowship has helped reshape Gambia's prison service.
It is hoped that the program will pave the way for the beneficiaries, especially the offenders, to reflect on their crimes, its consequences, on the victims and society as well, as the opportunity to seek forgiveness. It may interest you to know that many of the inmates in our prisons are reoffenders, but I think that one is becoming the thing of the past, because as alluded by the Director General, we have realized that reoffenders are now very limited in the number, which is contributing towards the continuous overcrowding of mile 2, which we definitely want to avoid, especially in the COVID-19 period. We want our prisons to be decongested completely.
On behalf of the inmates, Alassane Sidibe gave the vote of thanks.
When we started this program, anyone present that day must sense the feeling of resentment, bitterness, and hurt in us. But as the well-experienced facilitators that took us through the programs began and progress, we all began to receive comfort and started to bright the light.
Studies have shown that offenders who go through the Sycamore Tree Project have significant changes in attitudes that make it less likely they will reoffend once released. At the end of the ceremony, certificates were awarded to the graduates. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
Now let's take a quick look at some interesting sports news. Fortune FC extended their lead at the top of the GFF First Division League to 7 points after a 1-0 victory against Armed Forces in a top-of-the-table clash on Friday night. Our reporter Mozu Gajaga was at the Independence Stadium and he now reports.
League leaders Fortune FC soared again with another narrow victory in a close but competitive encounter against second-placed Armed Forces. Salifu Sao volleyed in Sekou Jata's chested ball as the Gav defender tried to block the initial ball. Armed Forces showed glimpses of attacking firepower up front, but couldn't believe how Sekou Basise's goal-bound shot got cleared by Fortune's rock in defense Sambujang Toure. Despite some occasional good possessional football, the game was in sort of rash tackles, especially from Armed Forces, whose Julaba Sawane and Sekou Jata rightly got booked. The two could have even been booked for a second time, and sent off, but were lucky to stay on the pitch to complete the game. Lamin Sedikan, known by his nickname Lefo, says they are enjoying their current run of good form.
I can say Alhamdulillah, I thank Allah about all this. I'm not surprised about the team performance we're doing game in, game out, and it's all due to hard work and dedication we've been doing to the training ground, and it's been phenomenal for us. And we started the team in the beginning of this season, it's been amazing for us. It's not done yet. It's not done yet. We have to take every game in as a final, and we're having our next game. We're playing against Marimo, I think, and we think we're gonna take it as we're taking every game like we have to take our time, and have been doing it. We need to do a lot. We need to do a lot in the training camp.
Fortune coach Jane Juve wants to win consistently to keep their title hopes alive.
45, we know that they're playing 3 strong men at the back. I decided to bring in another striker to give them pressure, and that's why it paid dividend for us, and then we scored a goal out of it. Yeah, you already mentioned about the experience. I have been in this league for a very long time now, got a lot of experience. So also I have been together with these boys for a very long time.
At the halfway stage of the league, Fortune are top with 29 points from 13 games, having scored 14 goals and conceded only 2. Elsewhere on Friday, Banjul United held Real de Banjul to a 0-0 draw in the second game. Both teams missed scoring chances, but the biggest talking point of the game was when the referee failed to give what appeared to be a clear penalty in the dying minutes. Fans of Banjul United reacted angrily